Morning. Good morning, Garchen Rinpoche.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning. Uh, Dharma brothers and sisters, we are close to the arrival of Garchen Rinpoche. Just now I've already announced, but for the people, for our brothers and sisters who just arrived, please do note that we have this virtual Zoom background and we encourage everyone to do so, just like Dorzen Rinpoche has also done so. At the end of the session, we'll be having a group photo. We need you to put on your very best smiles, and also to have this background, we can have a very nice souvenir for Garchen Rinpoche with everyone in it. Our admin has copied the file on the chat room. Please, everyone do download and use it. Also, at the end of the sessions, we will be promoting attendees to our panelists towards the end of the sessions. For the current panelists, you may now switch on your video, but please do try to minimize all your movements. And for the rest, you will be promoted to the panelists towards the end of the session, where you can on your video and say goodbye to Rinpoche. End of the session, not only will we be having the group photos, we will also be offering kata to Garchen Rinpoche. So everyone, please do prepare a kata if you have one. Yeah. Okay. And just now we talk about the panelist where you can switch on the videos. For the at the end of the sessions, when we promote you to be a panelist, you will see a window prompt on the screen. So please press the blue button that says join as panelist. And then with that, you will be able to turn on your screen. Okay. And then Rinpoche can see every one of us. All right. So thank you and rejoice everyone for coming here on the last day of the retreat. Thank you.
We'll begin with the opening prayers in the Yellow Prayer Book on page 1, once in Tibetan and twice in English. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Now go to page 7 for the Mandala offering. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. Completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devanta Gena Rena Mendro Page 10 for requesting teachings. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
La patala la de che che da mai on te che gen la yo so lo come ci je po ne da so yo ko ra sen chu ko mo so so de pe sa be la me sha lo so han de so so ma de la shu jin chin nya so be mo cho je la so sen be dong da nya da dan chi la dan ba chu je ne da de so Ima oi bai sangha the livre da kadam raktong ge kanyan tra che che ma da kan shi chi shu lo re den no tro na for ya the raktong de man ka ka ri ma do dong de ni raktong ko ta wa de sa ja chen bo do pa chen bo ta che dong de ran de o re jin ka se ne lo de Riterena sembia nero che gemlare pakete sembra non cace me giorno che va sade non cada non semi che va de rantongo de ton de ranton si va de la de non to tamche dan ka sem bomba ja chebo non to me sem te sa o ha con già c'è non cada già cada ha mon de melon da or shatawas katan jamcho shatam methojizo sen de ne pasel jamcho ta rijela sarroge nato nanin ramata charonji obade de melon ta shi so don la de se ta melon ta shi tin pa melon da namka ji ta che ta ta chu pa cha de che chong na to so nam ko pe de melon da cha de rijela ta sa ja chenbo ji ka ju be ni sen so sa ja chenbo de 야 맹당 동당제라 요리 사라지는 동반이리 동반이리 자체보서 이 올타다 셉지 동반이 뭐 하고 말이 세대 나에서 나에서 봐지 이런 게 셉지 상태 누가 소식이 나와나디 이 벌써 다 도망쳐 좀 나들아 뒤수나 이 난 셉지 뭐 하고 말이 나들 너도 차대들이 차그럼 치보도 막 동전들이 정말 더번만고 차로가 빼지다 차그럼도 맞을까 받았더니 니진이 요리 니진이 매번 샘들들 차그럼도 쇼서는더니 차그럼 장초 나기 차그럼 장초라 텐데 이 사자치 몰라더니 레상도 사지 로자가 맞췄다고 인지 바지 초강가다 생을 딱게 동거 요리 있어 이 생을 딱게 동거더니 타마더니 생부대로 하고서는 잡을 거 쳤다지 잠치는 거 잠치 쳤다는 잡을 거 쳤다지 뭐 쪽발이 저는 매일이 하고라 저 돈이 저 산능 시바라 사람들 마음을 안서 말아비 매일이 세트 살도 티페지 이제다 생각 내로 되더니 다 사자치 모습 사자치 못하려면 맹진다지 우리 네 라릭 동당 잡에 사송 라릭 동당들이 다 랑게를 봤는데 대선 사지 참치 뭐 동탄배 대바 사지는 다 뭐지 빠차게 되라 랑렉 동당 잡에 사들 랑게 쓰는 랑게 대바지 속요래 이 따위 다 죽노 당내랑시 상지 메레스 지과사는 거들 랑렉 동당 잡에 사송 이 제가 야네 데리 마다서 이 다 갔당지 또 마사지 고마서 삽지 사바다 샤와송 데리 갔당 그것도 지가 서tor는 사바다 샤와서 사바드는 혼자 취탐지 디서로 가르쳐 봐. 나팔로 그래서 내 취탐지 담아서 봐. 되나지. 이제 타수 가와래. 때 독주다는 내가 독주 마땅한 처럼 세번 내려왔잖아. 이 사자 좀 다 세대 추자와 가지고 세대자와 조성. 그런 것은 통치 시바드 첫 다들이 통치 시바드 다 살라 도움이 당셨다 만들어서 상통들 사자치 봉고 다때 똑같이 땅들이 상통들랑들이 주디 나랑 것은 내륙 차들 내륙 내지 저는 저통 못 만들고 차들 다 되는 것들이 된 통해서 공통들랑 다 주제돼 요래 도망들랑 다 주는 거 대차는데 다 줄지 다왜 다 줘봐서 일단 다 사자치도 내륙들 받고 그래.
So yesterday we spoke about Vipassana, special insight, and although I don't know how to explain that well, I really did my best to explain that to you, and I apologize if there were any mistakes. But so we give it different names, this view of Vipassana. For example, we call it Mahamudra and Dzogchen, the ultimate truth. But all of these terms, all of these words have one single meaning. They come back to one and the same sort of thing, and that is the nature of the mind. They all are a word for the nature of the mind. They express the nature of mind. Jetsimila Repa had said, when you realize that mind is inseparable from space, you have realized the Dharmakaya. So the outer space and the inner mind are exactly the same. That is when you really truly see the essence, the nature of Vipassana, of special insight. And so when the mind is free of all thoughts, the mind is experienced as a vast emptiness. And there is a clear knowing awareness that knows is aware of this vast emptiness, vast like the sky. And if it's difficult to comprehend the vastness of space, yesterday we also mentioned other examples. For example, it is like a mirror or like a crystal ball. We have mentioned yesterday, it is said that the mind is like an ocean, like a crystal, and like a flower. So no matter what thoughts arise within the mind, positive or negative thoughts, they all are like temporary ice blocks that are reflected within the mind, which is like a mirror. And that is what we call the mirror-like wisdom. The awareness of this is the mirror-like wisdom. So when you look at this example of a mirror, the mind is like a mirror. actually it's exactly the same as space. Maybe it seems to be different when it comes to its size, it's smaller, but it represents the same as space. And so in the Kagyu tradition, we refer to this nature as Mahamudra. And then the name Mahamudra itself is also related to the meaning that it represents. So Mahamudra, or Chakya Chenpo in Tibetan, so the chak part, which is the mudra, but only half of the mudra actually. So the chakya will be the mudra, and the chak of the chakya refers to the empty nature of the mind, the vast emptiness. And that is what we have not recognized. We don't recognize our empty space-like nature. And temporarily, our perception is a perception of an I. There's this me. So now there's just this me. And we perceive self and other and many sentient beings. And they all perceive me. And due to that, they perceive the various appearances of the 6 realms of samsara. Everyone grasping at an I, a me. Even a small little insect, like an ant, has this kind of perception of a me. And the mind is actually one and the same. Our mind is the same, but we don't recognize that. So temporarily, the mind has become like an ice block. Or you can imagine it's like one large iceberg, and when that is crushed, then it splinters into many small pieces. So there's many small pieces of ice, all the sentient beings. And until the ice has melted, sentient beings will perceive a dualistic existence. And when the ice melts, the ice is recognized as water. It merges to be one with the ocean. And that state is the state of Mahamudra. In the Ganges Mahamudra text, it says, for a beginning practitioner, a beginning meditator, the mind is like a waterfall fiercely gushing down a mountain. And then in the middle, the mind it flows gently like the river Ganges. So that is what we observe when we look at the state of our mind as we progress in meditation. And so then when you look at the mind is really seen just like water, like a river or like the Ganges River and so on. Because when you know the nature of the mind, you see that everyone has that same mind. It's just like there's different kinds of water in the world. But all the water in the world and the ocean water have one single essence. And slowly, gradually, you realize that as you practice. We mentioned yesterday, Milarepa had said that the realization of emptiness is a gradual and increasing awareness or recognition of clarity increasing in the mind, or the bhumis and the paths are an increasing clarity of one's realization of emptiness. So it becomes increasingly clear as you engage in practice in a gradual way. And so the mind then is referred to as the self-knowing awareness that is naturally luminous, or it illuminates itself. That will become the experience of the natural state of the mind that is referred to as Mahamudra. And it has many other different names too. So it is said in terms of the etymological meaning of the term Mahamudra that so the chak also can mean prostration or bowing down. And in that case, so first it was emptiness, and it can also mean prostration. And in that case, there is a verse that says, I prostrate to the ultimate, my ultimate self-knowing awareness. So your own self-knowing awareness, your own awareness has the essence of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. To recognize that is the ultimate truth, that your mind is indivisible from the Buddha's mind. And when you recognize that, therefore, you are able to develop devotion even to your own mind. So therefore, you prostrate to your own self-knowing awareness. That happens when you have gained complete certainty in the view or the natural state. When you are completely certain, my mind is really the Buddha. So I prostrate to the self-knowing awareness, my own self-knowing awareness. And that is the chak and the gya from chakya, which is mudra together. The gya also means like a kind of like a boundary or a seal, and meaning that there is nothing that goes beyond it, nothing that transcends it. Also, the other day I mentioned that the Buddha described the nature of the mind as being profound and peaceful. Also, Khenpo Tenzin clarified the meaning on that in terms of profound. It means that all phenomena of samsara and nirvana are encompassed by it, so they cannot go beyond it or transcend it. All the entire universe and all beings do never transcend the vast expanse of space. And when you see it, it is free from all extremes. When you look at the natural state of the mind without thinking, you see the natural state. It is also said to know all phenomena, the nature of everything. Do not inquire into the nature of phenomena, but inquire into the nature of the mind or the root of the mind. So what you need to find is the true nature of your own awareness. That is clear and empty, the clear and empty nature of the mind. And that nature is referred to as Mahamudra, which has the same essence as Vipassana, the natural state of the mind. So the nature of the mind itself is Vipassana, the special insight. It is the completely pure state of the mind, the natural state of the mind. And once you have seen it, you habituate to it. And through habituating to it, you will gain certainty in your own experience. And that certainty is what we call that you have certainty in the view or the natural state. And so this is how we recognize or come to an understanding of the true nature of Mahamudra.
남카 것은 저도 요리 오창은 남카 요리 이상데 미파치 딱게 땅게 요리 말이 딱게 땅을 고마르더니 딱게 땅고 또 선남카라 딱게 땅들이 별난 남카처럼 따세나 타다 웃어도 반가워요 좀 들리처럼 생각나고 딱 남카를 타위미 봐대 늘 갖다 싸봐도 자체랑들이 삽들이 남카를 싸봐요 말이 근데 니가 나한테 그 당신 남팔로 말해 봐리 들지 땡바가와 들지 땡 사바들이 숫자 또 들으면 다 줘야 하는 다 하고 som지 말로 맞추기 책같이 왔지요리 남까지 우카레시 타임에 봐리지 남까 우카레시 저도 남까 타임이 이제 주로 우체 걸어들이랑 고토들이랑 울서 거리지 메시지 따르지这两个我说的到位就看见了，这两个内陆的多什么，这两他给物质差的大下过什么，这里的这种他们就这个多什么的呢，这都差么的，为什么的这里我们两的这里他大个这个差劲了，这里我们大瓦上，这里我们这两个我们大瓦给这里蛮主要有的，这个呢我们上。대 동지에는 남까지 타임이 받대다 하고는 되니 사바당 따지와 되니 근데 대다 차디고 남까 딱히 땅 거래지
And so there's a line in the Ganges Mahamudra teachings, and so it's about space, and space is always actually present. But most people don't really analyze space, what space really is. So actually in the beginning, we should analyze that, the outer space. So in the Ganges Mahamudra, it says, when you look into the middle of the sky, fixed concepts of center and boundary will cease. So when you look at the mind is just like space without center and without boundary. And also yesterday we mentioned the mind is profound and vast. There's nothing that is vaster than the sky, than space. there is nothing in samsara and nirvana that transcends the vast expanse of space. So its depth is extremely vast. It is profound in terms of being deep and vast. No one can really fathom the depths of space, the breadth of space. No one can really understand it. Actually, once a disciple asked me very directly, and that was in the context of me saying that space is without center and boundary. And so then another disciple asked me, but then where is the center of space? And I said, generally space has no center, but if you're looking for a center, if you want to have a center, then it's right above your head. Wherever your head is, that's where is the center of space. And so what does it mean? That's the center of space is right above your head. It is that when you realize the nature of the mind, you realize that mind being like space has no center and no boundary. And whoever realizes that, to them, that realization becomes the center of space, so to speak. Center as in the middle, and middle as in the middle way, like the view of the Madhyamaka. The middle way view describes the ultimate nature, the natural state of the mind, by means of words, so through verbal expressions. And that is called the view of the Madhyamaka. And so actually it transcends all words, but this is how it is described. So in the middle way school. So the center of space refers to one's realization of the space-like nature of the mind, and then one has found like the center, or the middle of space. And then one realizes that mind is vast and deep, just like space. So what I'm trying to say with that is that in the beginning it is necessary that we think about it, that we really analyze the nature of space.
사브랑지디 사브람이 하고로 사브랑지디 나카다 가서 그걸 찹대요. 그걸 찹대는 되지 ሰብ 도도를 되는 인주 말이. 저 동송조송 동송조 사브랑지디 동바 사브랑지 살라메들이 우사와야지 세계는 우사와 그런다. 대외들이 공지 받아 살랑티가 말라라. 살랑티가 말하는지 다다 될 무거웠던 짐을 박차고 두고요 말이. 되게 배강이들이 된 통솔들이 까빠 돌도 잡으면 봐야 룸에 지금은 무슨 세송 살치 볼라. 당시 생기 코바 토마미 바 잡아던 코바는 참나야. 동다들이 이렇게 또반이 있어. 얘를 같이 갖고 잡고 다샘 터정제가 당배 그것을 좀 제로함이 봤을 때 동당 또반이지 다 타박에 기다린다고 그래야 되더라고. 상부요는 막 또고 또 정말 막또 나이 니지지 요 찬이 저들 내 차시 차와 요리 때려지는 동화를 두가 포대니 차요 그랬지. 또 정말 또그 시박 관하게 저거리 시박 관한 마도박은 코가 차도 요리 청론도 또 나라를 이시들 답고시면 그다 이제 사지 죽어서 로고 차도 요리 들마다 봐도 쪼거들 다 받아 이거 냠도 봐도 쪼거들 쥐탐지 것을 그런지 이제 콩선 마디 말해 애들 것을 동데 또 어떻게 가라면 난 가면 서가 또 들었더니 따뜻해 또 말이 내 말에 동남도 또 내 말이 마도 어떻게 되다 듣더니 다좀 비로함이 말해지 이 가미들이 하고 그래.
So the mind is empty, just like space. And so when you think about space, you might feel that you understand that space is space. But then when we say that all the universe and all the beings are like that, then again, these thoughts of perceiving everything in this concrete way and having your concepts about how things are, again, these habitual imprints arise within the mind, and then you cannot really see things like space. So as an antidote to this kind of perception, the Buddha first said, all compounded phenomena are impermanent. So compounded phenomena is what makes up all the things in the world, this entire world. This entire world is impermanent. And and all the inner sentient beings are just like that. And so when you, for example, take this planet Earth, this world, it is just like a little heap of earth that you have in your hand. You have a heap of earth in your hand, and when you blow on it, then it just disperses into space and it's gone. And that's the nature of our planet Earth. And that's the nature of all the 5 elements. That's the empty nature of all the 5 elements. So you will not find anything that you can really grasp at, anything of any substance whatsoever. Also, if you do not grasp at things as real, then also naturally the various thoughts and the afflictive emotions in relation to appearances will actually collapse. And that is because you cannot find anything substantial to cling to. Then also in the Ganges Mahamudra next it says, likewise, when mind looks into mind, thoughts cease and you see the nature of mind. So when you look at your own mind, it becomes completely empty. And so people might think that there's nothing there, I don't see anything. So even though it is empty, there is also a clear knowing awareness. And this is what we call the unity of clarity and emptiness. And if this unity of clarity and emptiness takes on shape, then it is expressed in the form of, for example, Samantabhadra, Yab and Yum, or Vajradhara, Yab and Yum. They appear naturally as an expression of clarity and emptiness, or appearance and emptiness. The appearance aspect is the Yab, the male, and the emptiness aspect is the Yum, or the female. Or clarity is the male and emptiness is the female, or bliss is the male and emptiness is the female. So the female, the yum, represents the aspect of emptiness. And that the empty nature of all appearances, although things clearly appear, they lack inherent existence, which is their empty nature. And so for this reason, appearance and emptiness are a unity, meaning that appearances are empty of self-nature. And this is how you should understand the nature of all compounded phenomena. And when you really understand that nature clearly, and you see another person, for example, there will be no thought in your mind thinking this is a real person, because you have understood that all compounded phenomena are impermanent, and instantly you will see this person as an illusory appearance, and therefore no attachment to that person will arise, because you have realized that there is no object of attachment, there is no one to grasp at, nothing to grasp at. All lacks inherent existence because all compounded phenomena are impermanent. So this clear knowing awareness is what you need to recognize. Do not project outward trying to understand all the outer phenomena in the world. But as we said, you should inquire into the root of the mind rather than the root of all phenomena. So you look at the nature of your mind. Mind looks at mind. You look at your own clear awareness. So you analyze your clear awareness until you realize it. And when you realize it, you realize that nothing whatsoever possesses any true existence. And the mind possesses no inherent existence. It is vast like space. So then you realize this unity of appearance and emptiness. So the realization is one where you cannot find anything that really exists that you can hold on to. That's the realization of clarity and emptiness, or appearance and emptiness. So clarity and emptiness is, the appearance and emptiness is the lack of finding anything real to hold on to. And then when you realize clarity and emptiness, which is the same realization, but it's called clarity and emptiness, when you realize that mind is like space. It pervades everything. There is no solid entity or thing that exists that you can hold on to. So that's clarity and emptiness, the unity of clarity and emptiness. And this clarity is the clear, awake mind that is called the luminous nature of the mind, or it's called clear light. That's the nature of the mind. And that is what is to be habituated. And so when you habituate, habituation or meditation means that you remain inseparable from this state of clarity, of luminosity, of clear awareness. And when the mind is clear, then ordinary imprints or habitual tendencies of grasping at things to be real and concrete will not arise within the mind. So when you see the nature of the mind, it is said it is just like when a lamp flame shining or being lit in darkness that has lasted for 1,000 aeons. It will illuminate the darkness of 1,000 aeons. So right now, sentient beings in samsara wander in samsara. Since beginningless time until now, they have wandered in samsara. However, ultimately, everything is empty. So sometimes there seems to be a contradiction between the relative and the ultimate truth. Some people think that on the one hand, you say that on the relative level, karma is unfailing, and on the ultimate level, everything is empty. Karma is empty. So it really sounds like kind of an imposter talk. But they think that way because they haven't really understood the nature of the two truths. When one realizes the nature of the two truths, that is when you realize that self and other do not exist, then what you see is that those who have not realized that, for them there is karma. And karma ripens in the 6 realms of samsara. And to them there is a duality there exists a duality between samsara and nirvana. But the moment they realize how things really are, they realize that everything is empty of self-nature. It is just from the side of not realizing that they experience the ripening of cause and effect. So actually what you realize is that there is actually no contradiction. When you realize the nature of the mind, then all the various appearances seen through the lens of clear primordial awareness become the Dharmakaya, become the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya. And so the Nirmanakaya appears in a pure and impure way in our world. But it is said that all phenomena have the nature of the three kayas. So when one realizes the nature of the mind, one realizes the union of the two truths in this way. And one realizes emptiness, the ultimate truth. And for as long as one hasn't realized it, one follows the law of karma. But it's important to understand that there is really no contradiction between the two truths.
얘는 문이 레 상고 말 문이 말이 상고 요 말이 남지 이것들이 내가 시치 보나 되게 동해나 제가 가래나 제 송도 초아시라면가 사실 시와 그리들이 대독 탐지되는 마음다고 좀 하다가 통솔을 이게 말아 봤다고 그리고 다 리포트가 들이랑 다 나타대도 첨부 요리도 있는데 생각은 내 손을 대다고 소화성이랑 이제 동에 대화를 샬로가서 대라서 봐 그때 나도 이제 많이 오셔야 요래 되게 삼장도 사람들 보이는 것도 이용을 때 토만이 되다 유몽이지 시체 민나 독체롱도 저방에 인송을 최종 사사다를 내다 뭐 답게 유몽 뭐 샬로감이 깝들 세고 내려오더라고 유몽 뭐야 오리마산 독자리마산 가요마산 자미 남도 가래나 남도 샤마타들이 뒤가야 들려다 보면 내 버스로다 홍공고요 홍 남도 가래서 홍공함지 돈이 차지 여기도 또 초화들 매바 차로 그래 또 초화 매바 잡아들 다 박차 초화 뒤 박차래 박차 뒤 망고 쌀을 들이고 못 차한 거래 별로 들이 세부 박차를 들이 놓아서 잡은 거래 뭔가 소주를 안 하고 내 잡은 거래 박차 충충간이 초화 충충 뛰어가니 들이 홍대 도서는 되지 다덕대 도서도지 내다 못 박가는 문의질이라는 남자 이 시기에 있어 마타들이 이 시기에 메시인 따위 있어 메시다위 있어 근데 또 생각이 있어 들이다다니 적진게 sống 메시인 칼 담보 차바지도 있어 이 실학사고 이거를 너도랑 이게 파책 돌도요래 딜라 차라로지 돌들이 초와 가용이 봐 초와 차와티 다 그래 처음에들이 매우 야시바지도 내게 요래 얘네들이 다다다 네 독체롱도 저바에서 유몽이 시체면 독체롱도 저바에서 또 부채들이 뭐가 체 되게 성공을 말할 비해서 말해
And it also in the Ganges Mahamudra it is said that which transcends the intellect cannot be understood by means of the intellect. And that's really the nature of Mahamudra. So, for example, when you receive the instructions, the teachings on Mahamudra, there is the Lama who teaches Mahamudra, and then the disciple who listens to the teachings. And so, actually, from the side of Mahamudra, from the perspective of Mahamudra, there is no distinction between them. There's no distinction between me and you, who is explaining or listening to the teachings. So we haven't realized that. To us, there is this perception of there is me and then there is the guru, or there is me who realizes something, I'm the realizer, and that which is to be realized is Mahamudra. But actually, they are non-dual. The one who realizes it and what is to be realized are actually one. And so what is a skillful means to realize that, to really come to a decisive understanding of Mahamudra? Again, in the Ganges Mahamudra text, it says, without a single thought, decisively look at your ultimate nature. And it begins with, it begins with first cultivating a sense of renunciation to samsara. You see all the suffering of samsara, and you become, you grow tired or exhausted of suffering in this ocean of samsara. So first there is renunciation, and then you develop faith and devotion in the three jewels, based on your understanding of the three jewels' qualities. And so once renunciation and devotion have arisen, then you look at your mind. And naturally, through the power of devotion, actually, all the coarse conceptual constructs in the mind will naturally calm down. It is said that this happens when an intense feeling of devotion for the Guru arises, and also when compassion arises for sentient beings. This is also called the mind that is empty and compassionate, or the union of emptiness and compassion. So Mahamudra is realized by not having a single thought and decisively looking at your true nature, the ultimate nature, the nature of your mind, the true natural state of the mind. And so here at this stage of looking at your mind, there is not a single thought. So here you don't analyze anything. You just directly look at your mind. That is called the view of vipassana or special insight. And then once you see the mind, then all you do is just stay in there. You continue on within that state, and that is it, without developing any thought or any fixation in the mind. So when you look at your mind, do not have a single thought. When you do not have a single thought by looking at your mind, how is that mind? The mind is in a very restful or relaxed state, and naturally it becomes just like space. So in the beginning you gain an understanding of that, and then you have to experience this understanding over and over again until you gain stability. And then you gain complete certainty in what you have experienced. And once you have gained complete certainty, you will have no more question to anyone. You know it yourself. You have decided upon it. So therefore, in the Ganges Mahamudra text, it says, that which transcends the intellect cannot be seen by means of the intellect. No matter how vastly we might elaborate and how much we may be able to list, there is no end to it. We can never resolve it that way, by projecting outward. Like we said, do not inquire into the root of phenomena, but inquire into the root of your mind. These words are really very important. And also, we have mentioned before different examples, like the sun or the tree. Like yesterday we mentioned the big tree, so we won't mention it again. So it is just like that. No matter how vast the phenomena of samsara and nirvana may be, there is just this one awareness, a clear awareness that from which it all arises. These concepts of these perceptions of there being a self and other is something that we have fabricated with our mind. Actually, it doesn't exist. So don't think about anything at all. Don't think that there is a me, there is an I. Don't think about others. You just directly look at your mind. You face inward and you trust in what you experience yourself, your true natural state. It can be experienced. And when you experience it, the experience is just like space, a space-like experience. That is the experience to be gained. And so that is then the experience of where you naturally merge your inner mind with the outer space. Or in Dzogchen, it is referred to as merging expanse and intrinsic awareness, or expanse and Rigpa. So when now when you meditate on a mind, so in a Dzogchen, when you merge mind with space, the meditation is one where you send out the mind deliberately into space, and then through sending it out, you merge, which is also a beneficial practice. But in any case, first you need to understand. You need to clearly gain a clear understanding, and then you have to really experience that understanding. And you experience it especially at times when thoughts and afflictive emotions arise within the mind. For example, anger or any other afflictive emotion. That is when you must sustain awareness. You must seize the emotion with awareness. And then just naturally, it will dissipate like a wave on water. And in the beginning, you will only gain a very short experience of the natural state of the mind, or of Rigpa. But you have gained an experience, and that is extended through practicing it again and again. And finally, it will become stable and always last. And right now, we have not habituated to that, but once you have habituated to it, then you always stay within that state. You will always be in the state day and night uninterruptedly. And so then Milarepa also had said, when there is no more difference between the daytime perceptions and the dream perceptions, you have actualized, you've mastered meditation. So day and night you will have an ongoing experience of the natural state. So even during the daytime in your daily life, you still interact with people, you talk to people, you do things, and things appear, but you have no thought about them. You don't think of them as being real, really existing things, and you also don't see them as being unreal, as not existing at all. You just simply don't think about them at all. And then everything becomes equal, whether the experience is very blissful or it is a painful experience, it all becomes the same. Whatever it is, nothing will really affect you much. Nothing will really generate a really intense feeling. Everything becomes the same. And that is what we call the peaceful state of the mind. So then, as Milarepa had said, you have realized that daytime, the waking state experience and the dream experience become the same, as in they all are illusory. So, for example, I myself also experience much physical pain, and nowadays there is a lot of suffering. But if I just stay within the natural state, at all times, nothing at all affects one. There is no difference between whatever arises. It's all illusory by nature. And so in this way, you gain the qualities of the realization of emptiness as you progress along the bhumis and the paths. So anyways, this is a point that one can talk about all day long. But so what we finally realize is that there is no difference between the afflictive emotions and primordial wisdom. Also here, Milarepa had said, when you realize there is no difference between afflictions and wisdom, you have perfected, you have mastered realization. So for a beginning practitioner, how we practice with the afflictive emotions in this. So when an afflictive emotion arises, don't think about it in terms of this is good or this is bad. Think nothing at all. Whether it is a positive or a negative thought that arises, instantly rest within that thought, within its essence. And in the beginning practitioners will find it difficult to just stay within that state, and therefore for them it is helpful to meditate on the Hung syllable. The Hung syllable has the power to shatter all thoughts and afflictions. Hung has the nature of emptiness, and it renders all thoughts and all feelings into nothingness. So the feeling that arises, so we have a thought and then a feeling comes from that. That feeling is the habitual imprint, the habitual tendency or the karmic imprint. And then if we accumulate many of these karmic imprints, it is because we have accumulated many of these karmic imprints that things appear as real. So that is why the more of these imprints we accumulate, the more solid and dense and real things begin to appear. And so that is why the various appearances of the 6 realms of samsara manifest to the sentient beings. They are all a natural manifestation of the 6 afflictive emotions. So when this imprint arises, meaning when a very subtle feeling begins to arise, immediately shatter it with the Hung, and then finally experience that the one who shatters and that which is shattered are actually indivisible. And then you rest within an even state, an even meditative state of non-duality. It is also said that this awareness that shatters these thoughts is like fire, and the thoughts are like wood. Also, now this is how it is explained in the Dzogchen teachings, that thoughts arise naturally and they are liberated upon arising, so they are self-liberated or naturally liberated. So when wisdom or clear awareness seizes the thoughts arising in the mind, the thoughts will naturally collapse into themselves. So that's called the natural arising and natural liberation of thoughts. And liberation means that there is no feeling at all left behind, not even a subtle feeling. And it is just like the mind is like a mirror that has completely been cleansed, or kind of has all the fog wiped off it. It is completely crystal clear. There's not even the subtle slightest of feelings left behind. So, as Milarepa had said, when you realize that there is no difference between the afflictions and primordial wisdom, you have actualized realization, the actual realization.
대리 타로 탑도 산지마도 서치가 하고 말. 대리 타로 셈 타고 레타 배도 말. 대타들이 산지를 먹지는 되는 바보 견디는 탐세를 먹지 그래. 대리 무냐들이 셈지는 이제랑 이게 그래. 대기체 뭐요래. 대리들이 따따 주로 가시기는 담배는 동행자 따오는 때라 셈지만 보지 요래. 이나 다 뒤에다 무슨 tema 로드들이 다음에만 뭐 시험을 대 하고 얼마 써서 좀 뒤체에 받지 콜로 반마 체바 인처요래 로르도 생진한데 저 때려들 내용만 통 코와도 내자서 로요데 탁탁 될지 보다 그 땅은 말이 때려들 양나게 위시제야 돼 기체 뭐요래 그래서 양나는 때려면 뒤다가 소디 그래서 주로 탑지가 마음 잡대 들어서 담으로 라동되나 되나 라동만 못 해야 돼 손은데 손코리 천코리 시에서 따로리 다 출세만 맨날 양대 속보를 참아던데 들어오서 있나 사이를 자자자치 듣고요 사이들이 왠지 타파 상못하면 매일 냈나 이 매일 내 그래 사이를 깼네요 매일 깼는 게 봐요 말이 라동도 같이 머리 라동들로 톡체들이 손으로 말 사이를 깨우요래 얘는 사지도 이제가 까리 들이 다또 따뜻한 사람들이 요리 주로 탑재게 생기는 유지 공략당 들이 사지기 용지 양당도 중요하 고초들이 되라서 가지는 이제 얘들이 개발을 했지는 들이 세부도 봐 두고다로 그래서 셔터고 저런데 심지는 이게를 집기는 야초하지 많이 치마 또 못되는지는 그러니까 마음부터 받아서 뭐야 때문에 다른서 이제 대바탕에 폐기해야 돼 나도거든 control 대바 control 용띠 그래서 이제 대기 뭐요래 그것이 나면 재미봐 뭐만 개그요래 그러다 보니까 강타터가들이 선로도 답들라서 왔던 거요래 대다 갑들이 또 잡기도 봐요. 그 뭐요래 잡기도 마시니 로딱 왔더니 지체메 봐. 가자카를 요래 되는 뜻이 잡기도 마르기 싫은 뜻이 나는 되게 뭐는 찍다고 하더니 뭐는 네바카리 락기 잠이 톱지 랑게들이 십진섬에서 상인제데 얘를 제리지고 톱되는 요래 사지 탐지거든이 십진섬 모아나한테 제리지고 톱되 추지 이제 또 산지 나 따와 동다를 때더니 또 좀더 좋은 걸 잡지도 많네. 때문에 잡지도 많기는 싶기는 굉장히 원하더니 산지에 모아서 sep지가 되는 데토고는 sep지단 데만들게 게다지 자치 좀 납치 정도 sep지단 데만들게 sep지 바데 짠돌에서 sep지 바데 뭐 조선을 잡수는 들이 sep지 바드는 저거요래. 대회들이 잡지도 많아 하자는 받침 뭘 잡지도 봐. 토바담들이 사지 이렇게 맞담지 저거 타고 요래 이렇게 있지 뭐요래 되게 참하게 다에 저도 말서 왔는데 왜하다 되게 펜스 다른 삼시 사바는 이제 공화 대기지 뭐요래 삼바체미甚至도 등엔 통지 뭐가는 삼바체미 이렇게 강글이 뉴모블이 이 레랑랑 미는 거요래 들이 다가 담벨인데 고소하면서 뉴모마 진주바나 닝망압도서 뉴모마 체체모인데 지랑다더니 생중앙낭 생진 삼세들이 동의 요리나 동의인데 동의 상계 요구는 뉴모마 누가 상거요리 대사들이 말하리비야 당만 찾아와 지속이와 체비 바고 지속이와 체면은 당만으로도 잡아니데 일단 남는 게만 단지 대화는 남도를 동해양 남도를 남도를 지속이와 체비 바쳐요리 따뜻해 당마들이 초대져 봐도 살짝쯤은 나서는 것 돈다 지속이와 체비 바 누멍이 체비 바 대답하는 것도 세종 이제는 참조의 지주로 남바라 찾아가려 주세요 다시 들리셔.
And so mainly devotion is very important. And so it's important to cultivate devotion to the Buddha because all the Dharma that we learn comes from the Buddha. So remember the Buddha's kindness again and again. Now, especially now, there is so much suffering in the world and there is so much suffering in samsara. And we actually witness so much suffering. And the method to free beings from suffering was only really taught by the Buddha. No one else has found it. So therefore, it is important to remember the kindness of the Buddha. He shows us the path to liberation, and liberation means that the mind has to become liberated. It's no benefit if just the body becomes liberated. So cultivate devotion to the Buddha, and also if you cultivate devotion to the Buddha, devotion to the noble Sangha will also naturally arise. And when devotion arises, then compassion for sentient beings will naturally arise. Dharma friends, also especially nowadays, we can see there's a lot of suffering in the world, and many of you worry about this a lot. But also think about it in this way, because now we directly see, we are being made aware of a lot of suffering that happens in the world, but actually it happens all the time. Constantly, sentient beings are born and die, and there's always uninterrupted suffering. It is just that now we become aware of it, but it's actually always happening. It's like an ever-turning wheel that turns uninterruptedly. It is just that normally, until now, we haven't really seen it so directly. But regardless of how much suffering there is, ultimately, sentient beings are never separated from their Buddha nature. And it's very important that you are completely certain about that. And then also, Dharma friends, there is an important thing that is the wristband that we have distributed with the liberation by seeing and touching mantra. Is extremely important, especially in times like these when we pray for the world. So this wristband benefits those who are alive. It becomes like a protection sphere or a wheel of life, a sphere of life for them. And then for those who have died, there is on the inside their liberation by touching. So it benefits them too. And actually the benefits are really great. For example, even if someone doesn't have any devotion, any faith in the Dharma at all, if they simply are in touch, or if this liberation by touching mantra touches them, for example, if it's an animal, then that animal will be born in the God realm. And the seed of liberation has been planted in their mind, and in the future they will take birth as a human and become liberated. Because otherwise it's not so certain where they will take birth. So it's very important to distribute and where it is liberation by seeing and touching wristbands. Also the Buddha himself had said that whoever sees it or comes into contact with it will not be born in the 3 lower realms, but will be born in the God realm. So that's the actual word of the Buddha himself. And so Dharma friends, what's most important is that you have compassion for sentient beings and that you remember the kindness of the Buddha, the kindness of the 3 jewels again and again. Every time devotion arises in your mind, a layer of your thick obscurations in the mind is removed, or it's like the ice is melting, the obscurations are purified. That is when a feeling arises in your mind. For example, when a feeling of compassion arises for sentient beings, then it is said that the obscurations of many aeons are purified. The obscurations of many aeons are purified if you shed a single tear out of compassion for sentient beings. So that is the benefit of compassion, which is really the greatest. And of course, also devotion is very beneficial. So remember the 3 jewels qualities with devotion, and think of sentient beings with compassion. And I myself am praying and dedicating for the world day and night, and I do whatever I can to benefit others, for example, by sending them the wristbands and various other blessings and so on. And also the refuge vow from afar. And actually the refuge vow is extremely important. And also nowadays it is saved as a recording on the internet, so it's always available. You can always receive the refuge vow by looking at the internet recording. So the refuge vow is extremely important because generally making prayers is very powerful, but it is said that if you make a prayer that is based on the refuge vow, so if you have the refuge vow and then make prayers, then that prayer becomes so much more powerful. It really enhances the power of all your aspiration prayers. And that is because of 3 powers. First, so when you take the refuge vow, then 3 powers come together through the refuge vow. And the first power is the power of your own intention, which is your own love and compassion for sentient beings. The second power is the power of the Tathagatas, the Buddhas, which is the Buddha's great compassion and the Buddha's vast dedication prayers for sentient beings. And then the third power is the power of the Dharma Dhatu, wherein we are one with the mind of all the Buddhas. And so when you take the refuge vow, you bring together these 3 powers. If you do not take the refuge vow, even though you might have compassion for sentient beings, you still cannot merge your mind with the compassionate aspiration, the bodhicitta aspirations of all the Buddhas. So that merging with the Buddha's power comes from having taken the refuge vow. And that is why the benefit of whatever you do increases immensely. That is why it's so important to take the refuge vow. So the mind of bodhicitta actually also arises from the refuge vow, because through the refuge vow you're merging your mind with the bodhicitta of all the Buddha's mind. So therefore it is extremely powerful, and I ask you to keep that in mind. If you simply receive the refuge vow alone, only that in itself is so important, so significant. And if you simply remember the Buddha's kindness, it is so meaningful. And also I encourage you to make prayers to Tara, to recite the Tara supplication prayer. And also please cultivate and sustain love and compassion for one another. Really develop immeasurable love, especially when you see the suffering of a sentient being. Cultivate immeasurable love and compassion. And also reflect, why is it that they suffer? It is because of karmic ripening. And karma ripens because of afflictive emotions. And so it might look that like this world is in a lot of despair at the moment. Also we speak about the degenerate age, the age of 5 degenerations, one of which is the degeneration of afflictive emotions. So we are in a degenerate age where the afflictive emotions of sentient beings are extremely powerful. And an outer sign of that is the imbalance, the disturbance of the 5 elements. So the outer elements in the inner mind are connected. So it seems now that there is a lot of suffering. There is a lot of suffering in this world, on the one hand, but also this suffering purifies a lot of negative karma, which is also necessary. And now I will tell you the ultimate instruction, which comes also from Milarepa. Milarepa also said his final ultimate instruction is when you realize that happiness and suffering, or happiness and sadness are one and the same, then you have found the ultimate, the perfect instruction. So you have to see that it all has the same, is one and the same nature. Happiness and sadness are the same, in that happiness is a thought, and sadness, suffering is also nothing but a thought. Everything is just a thought in the mind. If you really meditate, then nothing is any different at all. Everything is exactly the same. So that's the best, most supreme instruction, actually. And so when it comes to the instruction, the ultimate instruction on Mahamudra, it is just that, to equalize everything, to realize that afflictive emotions are primordial wisdom, and that happiness and sadness are one and the same. So that is what you can, this realization or seeing things this way can become your indication of your realization. So meaning that when you see them as the same, then that's a sign of realization. So Dharma friends, I will stop the teachings here today, and thank you all Dharma friends for joining on the live stream.
We'll do the long life prayers in the yellow prayer book on page 22. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrezig, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. Embodiment of the three jewels, great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya lion, supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. Holder of the teachings of the Lord Drigumpa, great Lord of the three jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. The one known in the noble land as Arya Deva emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chodingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gompo. May the life of the glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. Page 28. May the teachings of the great Drigumpa Ratna Shri, Master of Interdependence, Omniscient Lord of Dharma, who has seen all knowable things, be upheld until the end of cyclic existence through study, practice, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate to the Bodhisattva Chenrezig.
Tashidele to all the Sangha on the live stream, and thank you so much for joining the 100 million mantra recitation.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche, for your precious teachings. Dharma brothers and sisters, we have a special segment today. Through the kindness of Garchen Rinpoche, he has expressed his wish to continue the tradition of giving refuge at the end of the Amitabha retreat. And so for this year, he would like the students to be able to continue to take the refuge. As mentioned, the refuge vows can be taken over Zoom virtually. And so there will be this special segment where we'll be playing the recordings on the refuge vouch, and we disciples can receive the refuge vows from him. And the time from this segment is from 1:45 to 3:30 today. So we encourage everyone to join in on this special segment. Next, on behalf of Drigat Darjeeling, all the students in Singapore, in Asia, and all others around the world would like to thank Garchen Rinpoche for your precious teachings. And Ina, we will need your help to translate this to Rinpoche also. Yeah, so a lot of students all over the world, including not only Asia, but US and Europe, has attended the teachings, and we really want to thank Garchen Rinpoche for this. We are extremely honored to have him here to benefit our students. Garchen Rinpoche has also been very concerned about the well-beings of the Dharma learnings in Asia, and also asked Dozen Rinpoche often about the practices and progress in Asia. So, and he also puts in a lot of adjustments despite the large time differences across continents. So all of us really wishes Garchen Rinpoche long life and good health. And with this, we would like to invite Garchen Rinpoche to say a few words to us disciples.
Tritadadi also Amitabha Tongdota, Mani Tongdodi, Lotapon, there is a Panam, the Tonang, Tisun de la Tri, Mount and Minchili, Jumachevana, it is on the Machapari, the Gilcomachebonori, Narani, Sambakadi, Kali, somebody in the Yonguri, some safety, something, Yamdi Yuri. Triti Mangala, Tamjiti, Tondo Jumacheva, Nayada, Triti Shoya, Triti Kari, Triti touched the Divinity, that is the one to ask him Chitamzilla, the one take Chimondo, the Riachi, the Tondo, Shopanam, Tugi, this is around the Chayore, Jerasib Tamsili Piore, Raji Tony Yamdan to Koyore, the Tondo the Hayasa Chimbore. The Manaton of the Amadeo told of the Hataki Chimori, the Mangaki Chimonachi, the Tronomas of San Ravami Bayore, three Ramadanasi Sajis of Jerry, Sacho Seven to Bari, Tisosaji, Tabjega Talk, Sacho Senta, then not only some Chunju on the theatre, something only to Pacha de Ore, the something the Sanjiri, some Gore. Someone attached Derek Mamboyo.
So it is really excellent that year by year, every year, you're showing much interest in this practice of the 100 million mantra accumulation of Amitabha and also of the Mani mantra. And it's very important that you continue with this tradition uninterruptedly in all future times, that you continue to join these practices. It's very important, and I'm encouraging you to engage in this practice in the future. And whenever you do the practice, I will always be there. My mind will always come and be there. Our minds are always together. And so it's very important that in the future you will continue to hold these 100 million mantra recitation retreats, and that all of you continue to join these retreats. The root of virtue that we accumulate are they're really immense, and it's very important at the end to dedicate these roots of virtue for the benefit of all sentient beings. So I would like to thank everyone for joining the 100 million mantra accumulation retreat, and in general it is a great benefit to yourself. Specifically, it's a great benefit to yourself, but in general, it benefits all sentient beings. And actually, through these practices of the Amitabha and the Mani 100 million mantra recitation retreats, we are accomplishing the dual purpose of others and oneself simultaneously. So I ask you to please regard this retreat in the future as something very important, as a priority. And Dharma friends, I will always be with you in your mind. Our minds will never separate. The Guru's mind, the disciple's mind, and the Buddha's mind are one. Our minds are one, and the essence of bodhicitta is one. The essence of bodhicitta of all the Buddhas of the 3 times and our slight love and compassion have one and the same nature. So see it that way. See your own love, your own compassion as one with the Buddha's great compassion. So thank you, everyone, and thank Dachidelek.
Tata mambo Johnson sang yori, Johnson tapile, seven jeshi omari, Tata Lange, Kimanga Johnson, Gange Johnson, Triti, Sentry, Nata de la Sabadungi, which is Dipachatali. Three young Tartan Marine Watcher tablet, three tabatandi, Chipacomang top to go in. There was a team from Jagore, seven jeshi yoma, seven shea yomari, get out the Kadina go yori, Lama Sanji, Jamhoa, Gozi. Three dollars just cheat of your Goda Godi, Lamasaji, Jamua, go take some things to Jashiba Nango Yore, three was a double J, Saji only in Sinity, Hatan Karazambore, some three touch of Tamchi Saji, Nimboyore, touch of the Litangamares, at the Sabachi Washigore, the Mama Lange.
And maybe you're thinking that, maybe you're very sad nowadays and you're thinking that so many people are dying. But actually remember that the mind is beyond birth and death. And it is just temporarily for now that being controlled by karma, that we are sick and that we suffer in our minds and that we die. And that is all due to our previously accumulated negative karma and the obscurations. But even if they die, in the future, they will be reborn as a human being. They can be reborn as a human being. And if they're reborn as a human being, then as a human being, again, we can attain enlightenment. We have a chance of attaining enlightenment. So this is the aspiration prayer you should make in these days. And remember that the mind cannot die. The mind is always there. And even if beings die, they need our dedications, the dedication of our roots of virtue. Actually, even it is said the Buddhas need our dedications. So then, of course, if the Buddhas need our dedications, then of course sentient beings in the 6 realms need our dedications. For example, it is said that the lamas, the gurus, need our dedication because they need a lot of merit in order to be able to benefit sentient beings vastly. Actually, we can also think that we are very fortunate too in this world because we have met the Dharma. We are able to hear the name of the Buddha. So we are extremely fortunate actually. And on the ultimate level, our Buddha nature will never abandon us. The Buddha nature will never abandon sentient beings. So therefore, don't be sad and be happy.
Don't Thế xong chứ cho sẽ về thế tổng lắm được xong rồi chúng tôi nó tháo ba là thế ta chỉ để cái khả năng bởi cái gì.
Then I would like to offer a kadag of gratitude to all the spiritual teachers who are here now, led by Dorjen Rinpoche, and then all the other disciples who have joined the 100 million mantra recitation retreat. So thank you, everyone.
Tra shi de le bong su tin be ba ja la me ja be ti ti ke fe sa de yong la chap ti be jin da ngo thang jo ba ji tin ba ya re ne be tra shi so Om Deva
Thank you so much, Garchen Rinpoche, for your encouragement. Indeed, Dorjen Rinpoche has worked very, very hard to orchestrate the Amitabha retreats for many, many years now, from physical sessions until now virtual sessions, and leading the Amitabha retreats over this past 11 years. We would now like to invite Dorjen Rinpoche to give us a few words. Thank you, Dorjen Rinpoche.
Ni Kadin Samju Lende, Jinjin Savalama, Japan Gatil Chola, Ren Amadeva, Tundublan, Namju Nani, Roto Yonjun, Subshen, Rimbochella, Samju Chahi Dele, Shijitang, Any Namju Jumbat, the Rimboche, Tote Chimigoni, any that Jalani, Chicken Polo, Sanju, Machapa. Forward. La part Tahang and also Amadea, the Latin, Rimboche, Tongan, Zemiking on it, much of the topic, they were children on it, Patrick Mambo, now, they tongue it, and mean one to get Shijita. Mount Payan, Rimboche, Kete, a Shape, Yon the Jone, much of what tongue the John Chimney, but the new chicken follow. Sanji Machapa, Oro Hijitan, the Nin Jungjoyan, Amadeva, Ungruching, Wole Rimboche, Yolam, Joma Chipa Naro, the Nit Atakablayang, Atoti, Amadeva, Ungruching, Rimboche, Wole Jupatan, Rimboche, Tuki Mona, Kadin Yaki Latine, the Ne Amadeva, Ungruching, for some Supamani, the father. And dropped about the Johnson, then the young Papa Rimboche cutting Lamit Shiji.
Can I do it a little bit louder, right? Is it possible? Oh, okay. So I would like to thank, like from the bottom of my heart, our root guru for his immeasurable kindness. His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, our root guru, for his immeasurable kindness. And so on behalf of everyone who has joined, all the disciples who have joined the 100 million Amitabha mantra recitation retreat this year, I would like to thank Rinpoche, and also supplicate Rinpoche to continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for us with great love for us continuously. And so also I would like to thank Rinpoche for having done that, having turned the wheel of Dharma continuously for us, and also now, especially during the Amitabha 100 million mantra recitation retreat, with so much compassion and love for us. Rinpoche has not only joined the retreat, but also gave us so many teachings. So I would like to thank Rinpoche from the bottom of my heart, and I supplicate Rinpoche to be healthy and to live a long life, and in the future to continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for us disciples continuously, and also to bestow his blessings and compassionate prayers and also presiding over the future Amitabha 100 million mantra recitation retreats. So now it is due to Rinpoche's compassionate blessings and aspiration and prayers that we were able to successfully complete another Amitabha 100 million mantra recitation retreat. So I would like to thank Rinpoche from the bottom of my heart for his kindness.
Yeah,
and also thank you so much for not just now but always giving teachings over the live stream.
Rashidile, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rinpoche. And now, thank you. And now we would like to invite Christina from GBI on behalf of Driga Tutun Dageling and also disciples to make a monetary offer to His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, Khenpo Tenzin, Lama Bunima, and Ani Sentem, and also Ina. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
We are very happy, and so in addition to that, we are also would like to make an offering to Garchen Buddhist Institute to thank you very much for your support and your assistance. All right, and now we would like to invite the president of the organizing committee, Driga Tutun Dageling, to present flowers as a token of appreciation to His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. Yeah, and there we can see our president offering it to the altar for our dear Garchen Rinpoche here. So indeed, this retreat has been a great success once again, and we truly rejoice everyone for the immeasurable merits accumulated. We are immensely grateful for everyone who has supported and participated in the Amitabha Recitation Retreat. And we'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Dharma centers and their staff who have supported, especially to the staff and Sanghas members of Garchen Buddhist Institute for their great help and wonderful arrangements. Thank you so much. And our thanks also goes to Vietnam, Drikong Garchen Punsok Choling Hanoi, and Driga Amitabha Center Ho Chi Minh, the Garchen Institute Japan, the Taiwan Garchen Dharma Institute, and all the Drukong Dharma centers that have rendered support to us in this Amitabha Recitation Retreat. We also like to thank Khenpo and Lamas and Anis for their support towards the retreat and attending the retreats together with us and supporting this. Thank you so much. And next, we have to thank our wonderful translators. We have Ina, Lan An, Misao, and Hannah. So to thank you so much to all our wonderful translators to provide different languages for our non-English speaking and non-Tibetan speaking disciples. And of course, not forgetting all the volunteers who have worked so hard, the pre-event and during the event, and after that, the post-event, all our sponsors, and especially to all our participants. Everyone of here has collectively contributed to the success of the retreat. And so rejoice, everyone. Now we have a special segment where a video has been prepared specially to show all our heartfelt gratitude to His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. Can I invite our AV team to please play the video? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please give us a few moments. We are playing the video soon. Right now, in front of Garchen Rinpoche, there is a big TV, and that's where he can see every one of us. And thank you so much for the staff of GBI for controlling the Zoom, so that Garchen Rinpoche can actually see all of us here. And at this current moment, we have more than 1,000 participants in this room itself. And the staff of Garchen Institute is actually showing us to them. And now please do enjoy the videos. Right now, in front of Garchen Rinpoche, there is a big TV, and that's where he can see every one of us. And thank you so much for the staff of the GBI for controlling the Zoom, so that Garchen Rinpoche can actually see all of us here. And at this current moment, we have more than 1,000 participants in this room itself. And the staff of Garchen Institute is actually showing us to them. And now please do enjoy the videos. Now in front of Garchen Institute, and that's where I can see everyone of us. Thank you so much for the staff of the GBI for
Everybody
Rinpoche la long lai Rinpoche da sitele hum.
Come on.
Thank you, Garchen Rinpoche, for your life teaching. May you stay healthy and long live. We love you. Bye.
Health, longevity in life. I would love to see you too next time.
Shidele Garchen Rinpoche, may you live long and healthy and continue to teach us Dharma.
Thank you,
And may your teachings spread far and wide.
Rinpoche, 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 Rinpoche,
Thank you so much.
In life, I would love to see you too next time.
Shidele Garchen Rinpoche, may you live long and continue to teach us Dharma. And may your teachings spread far and wide.
谢谢你们，
Thank you very much for loving us. Please live long for the benefit of all students. Thank you so much for the opportunity for attending 100 million Supplication retreat, and wish you all the best wishes and long life. Thank you.
Come on. 我这里。出去接那里不去了，呀。
Thank you. And everyone, please prepare your kata. Let us offer our katas to show, our immense gratitude to Rinpoche, so that he can see us. Please put on your best smiles. We'll be taking group photo with Rinpoche. And right now, we will unmute the microphones for everyone. So please put on your best smiles and hold your kata high for Rinpoche.
人切不切啦？
长寿，人不切长寿，人不切长寿，
人不切，no，长寿，长寿，健康长寿，人不切，健康长寿。Thank you for your blessings.
Life, obrigada.
Love teaching Rinpoche, long life Rinpoche, long life
Rinpoche,
See you later, Rinpoche. Long life Rinpoche, Rinpoche,
Rinpoche, may you stay healthy.
Daddy Raj, thank you. Love you. God bless.
Long life.
Long life Rinpoche. Long life.
Ulai
Rinpoche
Rinpoche,
healthy.
stay there. I love you. Rinpoche, I will stay. Thank you so much. Stay there. Rinpoche, long life Rinpoche, long life. Stay there, Rinpoche, long
Life Rinpoche.
Oh, Mami Dewahi, Mami Dewahi, oh, Mami Dewahi, oh, Mami Dewahi, oh, Mami Dewahi, oh, Mami Oh, Mami Hi, Rinpoche, thank you.
Ivory Sonka, thank you. Hey, taking 谢谢你们哦哟。